As an SEC registered broker dealer and FINRA member firm, Copper will now offer qualified custody, staking, look at this, freaking staking, financing solutions, and OTC services, as well as access to the Clearloop network, which we know does what? Is integrated with Canton. You guys, that we have been probably the only community keeping it 110% real and accurate with everybody publicly and, of course, with you all inside the private community. Here is an August 1st, 2026 post that I responded from Marshall Hayner's post where he said, I truly say to you, financial freedom is coming for those with ears to hear and eyes to see. And when he posted this, I noticed this was July 30th, the day after I noticed one of my metal alarms was going off, my metal alarm at the dark pool at the 09261. And so I posted it to the general public, showing them how accurate the software is that we have access to inside of CYPRX. And sure enough, days later, what do we see? We come over and we look at metal's price action. Metal had a phenomenal bullish reaction from the dark pool at the 09261 to the absolute pip. Anybody that bought metal when I posted that at the 09261 is currently sitting in some profit. Not substantial amount of profit, but still nonetheless a great buying opportunity in my personal opinion. Coming over to metal. Maybe one of the things helping support price is this announcement because metal started moving before the rest of the market yesterday, August 18th, 2026. Metallicus is pleased to announce that it has completed its System and Organization Controls SOC 2 Type 1 assessment. The independent assessment was performed by President Assurance LLC in accordance with standards established by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, the AICPA. It evaluated the design implementation of the controls included within the scope of the assessment at a specified point in time. Completing the SOC 2 type announcement represents an important, assessment represents an important milestone in Metallicus's ongoing security compliance program. It reflects the work our team has undertaken to establish a strong control environment, protect customer information, and integrate security into our day-to-day operations. Security is not a one-time exercise. Metallicus will continue to monitor and improve its controls as our organization, products, and technology evolve. So this was really great to see via an announcement from Metallicus. And then this just leads me over here in case anybody hasn't seen this. This to me is just, it screams that the metal ecosystem is going to be at the forefront of this digital adoption curve. Aqua has shared this before in a Zoom call, I think from last week, but this is directly from the fasterpaymentscouncil.org. And if you come right down here, they put out this two-part piece where it says this two-part blog series from the FPC Digital Assets Working Group takes a closer look at blockchain and U.S. payments, from emerging use cases and opportunities to the infrastructure and considerations needed to support implementation, right? I like that word right there, implementation. You click on the practitioner's guide to the rails, the risks, and the opportunity, and it takes you to this page, and we can clearly see that Metallicus's Frank Mazza is one of the digital asset working group members. Metallicus is at the forefront of this digital asset adoption. Now, the second page here, what I find interesting is not to cut out other layer ones because they play a major role. In part two, Aqua showed you guys this as well. It does highlight and mention layer zeros, including Metal Blockchain, Avalanche, Polkadot, Cosmos, Layer 1 blockchains, XRPL, XPR network, which I find super interesting. How many people on the internet discredit XPR network because they think that XRP and XPR are copycats, or XPR is a copycat of XRP. But in reality, they're completely two separate things. And I feel like this confirmation from the US Faster Payments Council, sitting them alongside each other directly on their freaking website, shows that to be the case. You got Solana, you got Ethereum, you got BNB chain, and then it goes into layer twos, Base, Optimism, Arbitron, Metal layer 2, ZK Sync, so on and so forth. So I found that to be of interest, just again, considering where we're at in the current landscape. Prices are down. People were fearful. Fear was at an all-time high in terms of the retail sentiment, but institutional adoption and the interest in the digital asset ecosystem from an institutional landscape was not. Moving over into Canton. If we remember, just the other day, I posted this video breakdown where this gentleman went on to mention that these institutions are not testing Canton's technology to not adopt it full force later on. Take a second and listen to what he says here.
Interest in Canton network. So how do we keep the Canton Foundation's vision balanced and neutral?
So let's talk about vision first. So the thing that we need to look at is who is participating. So yesterday we had the DTCC soft launch of the use case that involved almost 40 partners. Now, these are not the caliber of people who are going to try something out, put it in production, and then decide, in 5 years or not, that this is not the thing that was most suited for what their use case was. So when we talk about vision, the foundation needs to have a very long-term vision. So we're not talking, what I'm going to do for the next quarter or the next year. Like, it's a sliding window measured in years. Obviously, there are immediate things that we're tackling on a daily basis, and this is what we're going to deliver this month, this quarter, and so forth. But from a vision perspective, we need to think about where we're going to be, and we are going to be around in the long term, and our members are also going to be around long term. So this comes into, so with that framing, the neutrality piece becomes absolutely imperative, because it is one of, if not the most important pillar of the foundation. We lose this and the entire value and future of the network collapses, because, as I mentioned with our stakeholders, it's not just the members, it's also the users, the investors, the regulators. We have so many. So coordination and balance of this is the priority that we have every day.
So anyways, I just wanted you all to hear him say that this project with the DTCC is going to make or break, collectively speaking, the network success, but nonetheless that these financial institutions aren't just adopting the tech to just throw it away later on, which I think is good confirmation from a long-term perspective, zooming out. Nonetheless, showing you guys that Canton is 110% being integrated into traditional financial layers. This was announced back in July 16, 2025. 4 major liquidity providers join QCP and Flowdesk in building on-chain collateral management on the Canton network. Today, the Canton network announced the addition of B2C2, Cumberland, DRW, Falcon X, and GSR, 4 major digital asset liquidity providers, to its on-chain collateral initiative. This marks a significant expansion of the project, which began in January of this year. Now, we come over here to this announcement, and this is from more recent times, June 16th, 2026. Copper and Falcon X partner to launch Clearloop loans, combining institutional financing with the leading off-exchange settlement network. Then down here it reads, Clearloop loans enable eligible clients to borrow directly from Falcon X with loan proceeds deposited into their Clearloop accounts. Traditionally, accessing leverage often requires either trading through an intermediary's account or taking on direct exchange counterparty risk. Clearloop loans address this by enabling clients to borrow, trade, and manage positions within a single custody-first environment. Additionally, through Copper's reward program, clients may earn rewards in eligible loan proceeds, helping to reduce the effective borrowing cost. This is huge because of some new announcements that have come to light. So we know this involves Copper and Falcon X, and who is partnered with both Falcon X and Copper. Well, we come over here. This is from a year ago, Falcon X. Falcon X is pleased to be a design partner in Canton Network's new on-chain collateral management. Collateral management. Well, what was just announced? Remember, we go back to this. Canton Network announces the additional B2C2 Cumberland Falcon X, right? And what does this read? What does this allow? This collaboration with Falcon X and Canton says right here, the collaboration will deliver a solution with several key capabilities, including on-chain collateral agreements encoded as smart contracts, which will enable the automatic execution and enforcement of terms in line with ISDA, CSCA, initial and variation margin compliance requirements using the Canton network. Parties gain real-time access to data shared only among transaction participants, allowing for streamlined automated margin workflows, instant tokenized collateral pledging. Again, instant tokenized collateral pledging, and improved dispute resolution. The resolution ensures the privacy of collateral transactions, limiting the access of confidential terms and on-chain movements to the relevant counterparties. Then we know, so Falcon X, right here it says Falcon X, Canton Network, pledging collateral. And we know what just recently took place. Copper and Falcon X partnered to launch Clearloop loans. Clearloop loans enable eligible clients to borrow directly, i.e. pledging collateral, from Falcon X, right, with loan proceeds deposited into their Clearloop accounts. Well, we know, what did Copper announce with Canton? Copper named custodian for Theramoon Inc. Canton Coin Treasury Strategy. Copper set to integrate Clearloop, its institutional grade collateral management solution, with the Canton network. This is from November 2025. So we have Falcon X partnering with Canton for collateral management. We now have Copper running Clearloop partnering with Falcon X. And we know Copper integrated Clearloop, an institutional grade collateral management solution, with the Canton network. Says right here, Copper selection as custodian for a DAT or digital asset treasury like Theramune, which is now Canton Strategic Holdings, because they changed their name, underscores its role at the heart of institutional asset security and collateral management with Canton Network. Copper is evolving its flagship Clearloop collateral management product to leverage Canton's permission DLT, expanding beyond multi-signature custody to network-based collateral flows, integrated governance, and validator utility. Now, what did Copper recently announce? We come here, August 12th. Look at this. This is crazy, y'all. This is physical proof that all this shit is about to kick off. And what Danielle Dixon said about the floodgates being opened, in my personal opinion, is only just a matter of time before it really comes into fruition. Because this is the stuff that people don't see happening behind the scenes. Look at this. Copper, a builder of blockchain-based infrastructure for secure and efficient collateral mobility, which we now know has everything to do in partnership with Canton. And that's not discrediting any of other Copper's partners, but nonetheless, they partner with Falcon X, right? We know with Clearloop loans, Falcon X also is partnered with Canton. Copper is also partnered with Canton. And look at what they just announced here. A registered broker-dealer with the Securities and Exchange Commission has been accepted as a member of the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, or FINRA. That's Copper's markets entity, right? It says right here, today announced that its U.S. entity, Copper Markets, a registered broker-dealer with the Securities and Exchange Commission, has now been accepted as a member for the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority of FINRA. If we remember what Danielle Dixon said,
yeah, I think the tokenization piece and what's happening with, tokenization of real world assets, of bank deposits, of even insurance, you think about everything as being tokenized today. And I think for the most part, people are realizing that blockchain actually really helps to make that happen. Having the banks involved, this is the thing that's interesting about if you combine it with Clarity. Everybody's already doing this. Like Clarity's not going to make this so that it opens up the floodgates. The floodgates have already opened. Everybody wants to do it. We have an SEC and a CFTC that are engaged in helping us to move forward with all of these things. The reason why we need clarity is because we need clarity in case there's a flip and the Democrats take the White House later. That's what Clarity would do for us. But right now we have all of these players already involved tokenizing. And even on Stellar, we have close to 4 billion of real world assets tokenized on Stellar. And more and more of them are coming. It's growing. We started the year at $1 billion, and we hit June 3 billion, and we're almost to 4 billion now. So you see, the growth of these assets is really significant. The distribution is really starting to happen, and more of them are going to come on chain. So I feel like this is a really exciting time, despite the fact that we see these challenges with regulation. All of this is coming together, and blockchain is, and we see a terrible market. Blockchain is still the blockchain. The technology is driving the value right now.
we don't need Clarity for all this to happen. The SEC is already putting in rules and regulations. The CFTC is already implementing rules and regulations and already approving things. And this is physical proof that Danielle Dixon is not capping. As an SEC registered broker dealer and FINRA member firm, Copper will now offer qualified custody, staking, look at this, freaking staking, financing solutions, and OTC services, as well as access to the Clearloop network, which we know does what? Is integrated with Canton. Copper's custodian agnostic platform for connecting derivative counterparties for pledging and moving crypto and tokenized assets as collateral. That is freaking huge. And this is just from August 12th this year. The launch comes as digital assets become increasingly integrated with traditional capital markets, creating new infrastructure requirements for institutional participants. Through the Clearloop network, Copper Markets currently connects institutional clients with trading venues, including Coinbase International Exchange, Kraken, MTF, Deribit, OKX, Bybit, enabling near real-time settlement on Copper's infrastructure, which we know Clearloop network is integrated with Canton, right? One last thing that I wanted to piece together is I just came over to look at Copper's other partners, like GSR, which we know is a Canton Foundation member, Cumberland, clear as day, Canton Foundation member. We come down here and we're looking at their margin services and prime brokers. Falcon X, we know, is a Canton member. LTP right here, also Liquidity Tech, LTP. LTP is a global institutional prime broker, purpose-built to meet the evolving needs of digital asset markets by applying traditional financial standards and execution, clearing, settlement, custody. And it says right here, they have a role in the Canton Foundation member, right? So there's just so many connections with the Canton network that, again, I feel like some people that are starting to create Canton-related content on the internet aren't picking up. I thought that I'd put this one down for you guys. This was just a very interesting connection from some announcements that came from over a year ago, and now full circle, we see updates from August 2026 this year, where all of this is really starting to get SEC approval, FINRA approval for all of it to start to go live with institutions. And Canton, yet again, not necessarily at, in the headlines, but behind the scenes, we can see major infrastructure player in this new digital asset ecosystem merging with traditional finance, right? So I thought that that was to be of interest.